Inspiration, motivation, and discipline are three parts of goal setting, goal achievement, success that you need to understand because they're all three very important to your goal achievement, but they are all very unique in the way that they help you get there. Inspiration and motivation are often confused, but there's a significant difference. They're both short term, but the inspiration comes first. Inspiration is the spark. It's the sudden blaze of I see something I want to achieve, or something I know I do but I want to stop doing. There's a change that I want to make. There's an improvement that I want to make. There's an achievement that I want to go do. And it doesn't matter if it's a sudden internal spark in a blaze of, oh my gosh, I'm not as healthy as I need to be, or I'd love to achieve this milestone, I want to run a 10K, I want to run a marathon, or if it's looking at somebody else doing something, wow, that's really impressive, I'd like to try to do something like that. It's a quick spark. It's that inspiration. Wow, that's cool. I want to go do that. Absolutely necessary. You need to have a spark. You have to have that reason to accomplish what you want to do. And the stronger that burning sensation, the more willing you are to flip your mindset into, this is where I'm at, this is where I'd like to go. And then from the inspiration, the motivation kicks in. Still short term, but a little longer than the inspiration. And you start considering what life would be like, the challenge associated with it. There might be that excitement of achieving something, but there's also the anxiety of, oh my gosh, this is going to be difficult. Reality starts to set in, but you start going through that emotional reaction. Motivation is an emotional reaction, and that's where that blend between inspiration and motivation. The inspiration is the fire and the excitement. The motivation is an emotion. If you've watched any of the videos I've talked to, or if you've heard anything about mental performance, emotion is the result of the way that you think and you believe. So motivation is an emotion. It's the way that you feel about this thing that you want to do, or the thing that you want to stop doing. And so you feel this emotional reaction around the excitement. It could be the excitement, it could be the anxiety. It also could be the guilt associated with, wow, I've let myself go, or I'm not the dad or the husband or the worker, whatever work you do. I'm not what I would like to be. I don't like adding the shoulds, because that's where you get into the guilt. But it's more of, okay, I want to be healthier for my family. I want to be healthier for me. Oh, that's really cool. I'd like to climb that mountain also. So you get that spark, you get that intense feeling of, I want to accomplish this thing, and then the motivation into, I feel like, yes, let's do this thing. And then you have all these associate emotions of excitement, anxiety, worry, confusion, back to excitement, and you start to feel these things. And so it's important to understand that if you have a spark of something that you want to do, something you want to achieve, regardless of the inspiration, regardless of where it came from, you hit that motivation phase, you want to take advantage of those emotions, because that also will fade. It may last 2 days, it may last 2 months or 3 months, but eventually the motivation is going to go away. And so you have to move from motivation into planning and achievement. That's where the discipline comes in. Discipline is the decision to follow through. And that is absolutely vital once you get the inspiration and the motivation, because you're going to determine what the goal is, very, very clear, make sure it's specific, measurable, time-bound. Most goals are highly motivational when they are moderately difficult. So you don't want it to be too easy unless you have confidence issues or you haven't really accomplished anything like this. Make the goal small. But moderately difficult tends to be the most motivational when it comes to people, because the large, massive goals are a lot of times overwhelming, either in achievement or in the knowledge, skills, and abilities you need to get there. So set a moderately difficult goal. Maybe set that difficult goal and break it into moderately difficult yet achievable goals. But even from there, discipline, willpower will run out. And so there needs to be this mixture of accountability, of hitting back into inspiration. Right? Inspiration can fire at any time. It's that re-inspired mentality of, okay, yeah, this is awesome. You start to see a difference in something that's happening, or it becomes difficult. You become reinvigorated because you're following through on a process. You're starting to feel yourself, even if you don't see the changes in the course of like health and nutrition. You don't see the changes yet, but you see the pattern. The pattern comes from discipline, but the pattern can also, once you you reflect and you look at the things you've accomplished so far on your way, even if it's just, hey, I've keep going back to health and nutrition. I have stuck with my goal to go to the gym 3 days a week. Okay, great. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. Because even when it comes to goals, people think about the outcome goal, and that's what they stick with. But there's actually 3 types of goals. And they like we talked about the SMART goals: specific, measurable, action-based, realistic, and time-bound. All goals need to be SMART goals, but there's actually 3 types of goals. And this is where you're going to feel you're going to keep the discipline through the 3 types of goals, and those are going to be fueled by your motivation and your inspiration over and over again. So 3 types of goals. You got outcome goals. That's the big thing that you want to accomplish, right? I want to get to the top of Mount Everest. Okay, got it. But that's really big. How are you going to get there? You're going to track your performance goals, which are your measurable improvements of your performance. When it comes to exercise, how are you running a little bit faster? Are you a little bit stronger? Are you eating a little bit better? Tracking your nutrition, your schedule. So your outcome goals, what you want to achieve. Performance goals are what you're actually, how you're actually performing, the measurable improvements that you're making. And then there's process goals. Process goals are the schedule that you keep. I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. Did you accomplish that goal, going to the gym 3 days a week? Did you finish the schedule? Did you complete all your tasks? That's going to be your process goals. So if you can break it down that far, it becomes a lot more achievable, but you can also reinvigorate your inspiration and your motivation over and over again, because it's not just looking at that mountaintop. It's not just looking at the top of Mount Everest, which is very overwhelming. And that can sap your motivation. It can really take away from your willpower, which is a limited resource. But when you get into the habits that you build, which is the discipline to consistently follow through on the things that you want to do in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish, your disciplines will consistently carry you through, because you're reprogramming and you get better at what you repeatedly do. So you do the thing over and over again, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, the habits that you're trying to implement so that you can accomplish your goals. The more you do them, the easier they get, the better you get at them. Doesn't mean you're always going to like it. Like my alarm goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not happy about it. but it's a habit. It's now something I've dedicated myself to doing. So even on the days where my willpower isn't there, I'm not motivated to get out of bed, but I've created the habit. So now my alarm, sometimes I'm waking up before my alarm. And depending on the day and my schedule, it might be a 5 a.m. alarm, it might be a 5:30. Lately it's been a 5:30 just because the schedule makes more sense. But like today, I woke up at 5:15 and I didn't even think about it. I rolled over, turned off the alarm, got up out of bed, fed the dog, grabbed my stuff, headed out the door. So it makes it easier, and you don't have to rely quite so much on that inspiration, motivation. You don't have to rely on the willpower. Now it's just a programmed habit. But even then, you get these programmed habits in, you still want to reinvigorate yourself, revisit why you're doing what you're doing, so you can get that hit, that dopamine hit of inspiration, get yourself re-energized, tap back into that motivation. Yeah, this is why I'm doing it. I'm so excited. I'm starting to see change. I'm starting to see the behavior patterns, the habit patterns change and improve. I'm starting to see this, starting to see it happen, and then you start to see the changes. Going back to health and wellness, I'm starting to see, some of the weight come off. I'm starting to feel a difference in my performance. I'm able to breathe better. I'm able to move better. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you're going to see those differences, and it's going to reinvigorate yourself, and you're going to have that those three things. You're going to be able to hit those over and over again: inspiration, motivation, discipline, and they're going to fuel each other. And then it's no longer something you really have to think about. It's just what you do. It's part of who you are, and that inspiration, the motivation, and the discipline are going to get you there, and it's going to become a long-term part of your health and well-being and your productivity and your performance, so that you can maintain what you want to do, so that you not only achieve those things, the thing that you want, that you set out to achieve, but now it becomes, okay, what's next? What's next? And you become on fire for creating and optimizing and performing, and you're hitting all these goals. Now you've got 4 or 5 goals that you're trying to hit, all related in one way or another, but you're doing these things, and suddenly you're making all these improvements in your life. It starts with inspiration. It's fueled by motivation, but it's accomplished through discipline.